fellow makeup fiends and welcome to Naked Week. Today I have an absolute product rave for you and you're going to be very surprised. Now, as you know, I was sent some products by Makeup Revolution, which is a new makeup company, and it launched in Superdrug recently in April and they have the most amazing range you could ever imagine. They actually have a website, which I'm going to link below, and a Facebook page where they often have giveaways and competitions, so they actually do a lot of really great things. They're obviously trying to promote the brand and they've actually sent me some things to review. They did ask me what I would like, and I did ask for this particular palette that I'm going to show you today because there's not a dupe out on the market of this palette, so I wanted to get this and give it a go and give you my honest opinion about it. The other products they sent me were all lip products because that's mainly what I'd asked for. Anyway, onto the palette, which is what you want to hear about. Now, this is what the palette looks like. And this is the Redemption palette Iconic 3. So this is the Iconic 3 palette. And basically this is a dupe of the Naked 3 palette from Urban Decay. I'm going to tell you that this is an absolute product rave. And I've got a blog post on this, so please check it out because you'll be able to check the swatches out in more detail. Now, the only thing I have an issue with is the brush, but I never use these applicators anyway, but if you do, they aren't very strong. So it's like one of these sort of spongy things, and the end has come off on this end, as you can see. It was this little bit that was attached to. I was just swatching with it and the end just fell off, and I don't even know where it's gone. So yeah, that's not too great. So if you use these, then that's going to be a problem, but it's not a huge problem. So the applicator is cheap and not very good, but that happens in a lot of palettes anyway. But the palette itself, this is what it looks like. So what you get in here is, the way they've done the colours is long and thin. They're actually really perfect. You can actually put your finger in there to get a good swatch, and as you can see, the pigmentation is great. But the great thing is that you can rub your brush in there. The shadows themselves are a little bit chalky and powdery. When you do rub at them, like I was with the applicator on my finger, you do get like little chunks of powder that come off. So they are incredibly soft, but they're very pigmented. So I think that you would probably use these colours quite quickly if you were using it a lot. But at the price point of £4, it's not too bad because it's actually a really reasonably priced palette. They actually have a very large selection of palettes on their page. They're just fantastic, and there's definitely a couple more that I'm interested in. I'm probably going to invest in the Naked 2, Iconic 2, which is the dupe of the Naked 2, because I love the Naked 2. I probably won't get the Naked palette or the Iconic 1 palette because Naked is my least favourite of all the Naked palettes. But the Naked 3 is definitely one that I wanted to try. And all of the swatches are on my arm here, so they're a little awkward to show you here, but I'm going to put some photographs up here. And what I've done is I've actually compared them in rows. So I've done them 4 at a time. The shades themselves are incredibly pigmented, and I was just so impressed. I've actually used it in this eye look today. And this is actually one of my favourite eye looks that I do using the Naked 3 palette. I use this all over the lid and on the brow. I use this all over the lid on top of this, a little bit of that, and then I use these two in the crease, and then I use this colour here just on the outer corner, and then I use the last 2 shades, this one to line the upper lash line, and then the last shade to line underneath the eye. So as you can see, they are very, very pigmented. I'm very, very impressed. So you can see there. I'll try to move it as we go so we can line the colours up because they are a little skinnier than the Urban Decay. What's great though is they're the same sort of format, so they're like long thin shadows rather than the round. And the packaging itself, it's got a very large clear window on it. It's great that you can see all those shades really clearly. There's no mirror supplied with this palette because the lid is that way, but that doesn't really matter either because I never use the mirrors in palettes anyway. Now, the first 4 colours are incredibly close. I think the only one that really falls flat here is this one is not as pigmented as the Naked 3, and neither is that one. But the colours are basically virtually identical. Now, as you can see here, the top picture is actually the Makeup Revolution palette and the bottom picture is the Urban Decay. So if you look at those, you can actually see how close they are. I mean, that is literally one swipe of each. I didn't do a million swipes of the Makeup Revolution to try and make it the same pigmentation as the Urban Decay. That is just how it came. I rubbed my finger in the shadow and then I swatched it on my arm. So as you can see from those two photos, I mean, how amazing is that little comparison there? It just looks fantastic, and looking at the picture here side by side along my arm, you can actually see that the similarity is just fantastic. So the first 4 shades are really outstanding. Now the next 4 shades in the palette. Now the first one of the 4, I don't know if you can see there, it actually comes off darker with more pigmentation than actually the Naked 3 one does, which is just boggles your mind just quite a lot. Moving along, again the second shadow is more pigmented than the Naked 3 palette and those colours are pretty much identical, but then the last 2 on this particular row here are not as good. But basically you've got my favourite crease colour Nuna there, and Nuna is going to be a hard colour to beat because it's such a unique colour that I haven't owned in anything that I've got before, so it's just something that's going to be really quite difficult to dupe, and that comes off a little weak in this palette. And then the next one in the Iconic palette is not the same as the one in the Naked 3 palette. Now I actually love the one in the Naked 3 palette because it's very rose gold. The one in the Iconic palette kind of falls a little flat. It's not exactly the same colour, it's got more copper tone to it, but I would say that's probably one of the few in this palette that doesn't exactly mimic the Naked 3 palette. It's just slightly off on its colouring in that it's more copper than rose gold. And as you can see in this shot here, which is a picture of all of the 8 shades along my arm, you can see there are great similarities there. This row probably you can see is a little weaker in places, but then a little stronger than Naked 3 in other. So it's the actual first 2 shades are really perfect colour matches, and the pigmentation is just better in the Makeup Revolution palette, which is crazy. But the next 2 shades do fall flat in the Iconic palette. Moving on to the last 4 shades in the Iconic palette, we have the 3 very samey colour browns and the Amazing Black with a red flecks of glitter in it. And in the Naked 3, I just think that the last 4 colours, apart from the Black Heart, you've got 3 very similar browns. Now when you look at these swatches here, you can actually see that they're actually not too bad. So in the last 4 shades is the Amazing Black Heart. We'll talk about that one first because I've swatched these on my finger. And you would be pretty hard pressed to tell me which one is which there. This one is actually Makeup Revolution and this one is Urban Decay. You can see that they're both incredibly similar, which is very surprising to me because that shade is just so unique, the black with the red glitter in it. And yeah, it's just something that I thought that they weren't going to be able to do a great copy of. So Black Heart swatched side by side, you've got Makeup Revolution here and Urban Decay there. As you can see, they just come off as looking just incredibly similar in fairness. I think the red glitter is a little more present in the Urban Decay shade, but I don't know if you can see on this one, you can definitely see the presence of the red glitter on the top there as you move it. I think it actually looks like it's got more red glitter than the Urban Decay one, but I think that's because the red glitters in this palette are a lot finely milled than the Naked palette, so I don't know how that's going to wear. I don't know how they're going to show up, but I'll definitely give you feedback on that when I use them. Definitely the pigmentation was very good because I've got that under my eye and I actually really like how it looks and how it came off. Like I said, they are a little bit powdery and there's a fair bit of fallout, so just be aware of that and tap your brush as you use them just to minimise fallout under your eyes. Anyway, on to the last 4 shades. So here they are. So you've got Makeup Revolution on the top again and Naked 3 on the bottom. And as you can see from these 4 shades, they're not exactly identical. I think the Black Heart, they've done a fantastic job on getting that incredibly close, but the other 3 for me are not quite the same. I think they kind of fall in the same shade family, and actually, funny as it is, this colour here, I actually prefer that one to the one that's in the Naked 3 palette. I think it's a lot deeper, it is a lot more cool toned, and it's just, I don't know, it's a lot darker than the Naked 3 one, and it's got a bit more intensity to it, so I actually prefer that one to the Naked 3 one. So as you can see, really, the first three shades are very samey anyway in the Naked palette, and they are very similar in the Iconic 3 palette. I think they did a better job of the second off last colour, which is next to Blackheart. The Iconic palette definitely does that one so much better because it's just much more pigmented and it's a darker brown than it is in the Naked 3 palette. But the first two colours are fairly similar. I think here there is slightly less pigmentation and they're a little bit off tone slightly. They're not exactly the same colour, but they are similar enough. And as you can see from this picture here, which is looking straight along the arm, you can actually see the similarities between the colours there. And yes, it's pretty impressive in my opinion. So that's it. That is the Makeup Revolution Redemption palette, Iconic 3. Very, very impressive. And like I said, they do have the other two palettes available. I don't know if they're still in stock. I think that they have this one on the Superdrug site, but mine was sent to me straight from Makeup Revolution, and it was certainly in stock on the Makeup Revolution site. It's very cheap delivery. I haven't ordered anything from them, but when they did send me the goods out, they actually arrived within 2 days, which was really super fast. They were packaged really well, so I was really pleased with that. I definitely am going to get more palettes. There's a great Acid Brights palette. I have to have the Acid Brights palette. They've been posting pictures on their Facebook page of makeup looks using that, and it is just looks so incredibly pigmented, and I really have to get that because I love my bright colours and my colours. But this is definitely fantastic. If you haven't been able to afford the Naked 3 palette, haven't been able to get your hands on it, then definitely pick this up because this is such an amazing dupe. And I don't think that you can beat this, and if the other ones are anything like this, then they're going to be amazing too. You will definitely see more orders from Makeup Revolution from me because I am highly impressed with this. I honestly cannot rave enough, and you know me and my love for Urban Decay. I love Urban Decay, I'm a massive fan, but I'm telling you something, this is just one fantastic brand and incredibly impressive. If the rest of the palettes are like this, then you know you're not going to be disappointed. That's it for my product rave, and that's it for today on Naked Week. I hope you're enjoying the series. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. I'm going to love and leave you. Bye.